Hello everyone. I hope I am audible. Guys, can
Yeah,
you please
Sahaj, you
report
are.
it? Yeah. So there's no bigger revolution in education than the implementation of technology. A very good evening, everybody. I said Somanshi, core team member of Azure Developer Community Dehradun, welcomes you all in today's session of AZ-104 Bootcamp. So we on our day 7, we have Mr. Saurav Raghuvanshi with us. He is Azure Dev Lead, 5 times Azure certified, and currently plays in Microsoft. We welcome you here, Saurabh, and we are excited to have you with us. The queries are welcome in the chat box, and we would like to solve them simultaneously. There is an announcement too. At the end of the session, we will be announcing week 6 challenge winners, and there will be a quiz, and the top 3 winners will be selected as the winners of this week's weekly challenge. So I hope everyone must be excited for it. Therefore, stay tuned. Stay tuned to the session, guys. Over to you, Saurabh.
I hope I am audible, Sahaj.
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, welcome everyone once again. Uh, just to inform you guys that I'm not very well for last 2 weeks. That's why, like last week, we have rescheduled the session. So maybe you will be seeing me turn off the camera today. So because of that, please bear with me, and maybe there is little change in my voice also. So try to understand. And so without wasting time, let's get start with the session. So let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Sahaj, can you once confirm?
Your screen is visible.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let's start with the presentation. So once again, welcome everyone. Welcome to day day 6, sorry, day 7 of the boot camp. And this is about me. You already know about it. So let's get started with the topic. So today we are covering two main key components of AZ-104 certification. First, we will start with inter-site connectivity, and in this we will try to cover VNet peering, virtual network gateway, Azure WAN, to understand how multiple networks can communicate, how we can able to make a connection between multiple networks. So that here we are going to cover that part. Also, we will be covering about express route a little bit in the inter-site connectivity section. Then we will jump onto the web app and containers, which is always a very key service that I found very excited about, because that's where you see the real capability of cloud. Like you can able to post application in just few of the clicks. So that's really excites me about the cloud computing and Azure as a whole. So that's why it's a very important as well as very key topic according to me. So let's get started. VNet peering in inter-site connectivity. So in this section, what we are going to do is we will first start with describing VNet peering, what VNet peering is. Then we will talk about the benefits of the VNet peering, and then we will jump onto the console and see how it works. And just to inform you all that I did some of the pre-building architecture for this complete session, because deploying everything from scratch in just 2 hours of this session is going to be very tough, because even like a single demo of VNet peering or web application firewall or application gateway used to take 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So we can't able to go ahead and do everything from scratch. But yeah, definitely I will make it very simple and very clear to you all, so that you can able to understand. And then we will see some key learning for this VNet peering section, so that you can make yourself ready for the questions that you are going to face in the AZ-104 certification from VNet peering section. So the first question that you may ask is what is network connectivity and why it's important, sort of. Like we are talking about the configuration of like VNets, and so like in the previous lectures, you have seen that everything resides inside the networks, right? And networks are the fundamentals. So we said that like to deploy any VMs or anything, we created a virtual network. Inside virtual network, we created web apps or like virtual machines, whatever you have created. So you have seen that there are multiple VNets, right? So as you can see, there is a VNet one. Let me just take a highlighter. Yeah. So let's say there is a VNet 1 and there is VNet 2. And now your requirement, like you as administrator were asked by your company manager or anyone from the company that now you need to uh, establish a connection between VNet 1 and VNet 2 so that all the VMs inside both the VNet can communicate with each other. And this can be a very real world scenario. Let's say you have two different applications and that application are deployed in two different virtual networks. And let's say there is one data center of your application in USS and one is in central India. And now they want to communicate with each other. How that communication is possible? That's where the network connectivity comes into the picture. And that's where peering comes. So what peering does is peering allow you to connect two virtual networks. So that's what peering is. It's a bridge between virtual networks to allow connection, communication between two virtual networks. So there are a couple of properties that describe what virtual VNet peering is. First thing is it's non-reciprocal. What that means is like you must have studied this in your mathematics of in either ninth, 10th, or even in first year of your BTech also. That reciprocal property in mathematics. What that means is that like let's say if VNet one we establish a connection between VNet 1 to VNet 2, that does not correspond that the VNet 2 is also able to communicate with VNet 1. We need to create a connection from both directions. So it needs to be bidirectional to have a bidirectional communication. And also the second property is global connectivity. What that means is like VNet allow you to VNet peering allow two virtual networks from the same region to definitely they are going to able to communicate, but also cross region connection is also possible. That's why it's global connectivity is allowed in VNet peering. What that means is let's say you have a virtual network in South Central US and then one virtual network in let's say Central India. Still you can able to create a VNet peering so that these virtual machines or these anything inside that virtual network can communicate with each other securely. And when I say securely, that means that the data flow that is happening, it's happening in the backbone of Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Cloud. So it is not going through the internet, it is going through the Azure networking components, Azure networking backbone. And the third, next property is non-transitive nature. So like, again, you must have studied this in mathematics that let's say for a transitive behavior, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is also equal to C. But in case of VNet peering, transitivity is not allowed. What that means is, let's say from VNet 2, you have created a bidirectional peering with VNet 1. And also with VNet 2, we create a peering connection with VNet 3. But still, VNet 1 and VNet 3 will not able to communicate with each other because there is no direct communication. There is no direct peering is there. And also, the transitive behavior is not allowed in VNet peering. So this is a very important question, that scenario-based question that you will be seeing in the exam, that asking when to use transitive, whether to use VNet peering or not in case of transitive behavior. So you have to keep this in mind that it does not support transitive behavior. And definitely we are going to demonstrate this in the demo part of our section. So what benefit it provides? Like what benefit the VNet peering can able to provide you? So first thing is it provide you low latency and high bandwidth connection. And how it's doing is because the connection that you are seeing between VNet 1 and VNet 2, that's happening in the backbone of Azure. So it's using the backbone connection of Microsoft Azure networking itself. So that's why it's very fast. It provides low latency and high bandwidth connection. And also it provides cross network communication and data transfer. The communication may happen within a subscription, AD tenants also, and in different AG regions also. So you have a lot of flexibility that's provided by VNet peering when you need to connect virtual networks. So before coming to the key learning, let's jump back on the console and see it in action. I guess there is no as such question as of now. So if you have any question, anything that you need to ask, feel free to post it in the chat. I will keep on taking it. Okay. So definitely use this option of chat. So here I am on the console. Let me just go on the resource group. So I already created a resource group named VNet Peering Demo RG. And inside that, what I did is I deployed 3 virtual networks. And let me show you. So what is this? Like I created a peering VNet 1 and it has a different CIDR range that is 10.0.0.0/16. You can able to see here that its address space is 10.0.0.0/16. And I have second VNet peering, uh, second VNet, sorry, with CIDR range of 192.168.0.0. So let me show you that also. So here you can see the address space is 192.168.0.0. So this is the VNet 2 that I created. Let's see the VNet 3 also. VNet 3 has the address space of 172.16.0.0/16. So I deployed all the 3 virtual network in different CIDR, and the reason behind that, to have a peering connection, the virtual network CIDR space must not overlap each other. So that's the criteria. If there is a overlapping, there can be a chance that you will stuck somewhere or the connection will not work as you are expecting. So make sure that all the address spaces are different and there is no in like cross communication in that. So these are the 3 virtual network that I created, and you can see like peering 1 is in East US, peering 2 is in Central India, and peering 3 like VNet 3 is in East US. So what I try to do is like if there is a communication that happens between VNet 1 and VNet 2, that means that after peering definitely, then it must mean that peering support multi regions. That what we shown in the PPT itself. And to demonstrate that, I created 3 VMs, each VM in each subnet. So I have VM1 in VNet 1, VM2 in VNet 2, and VM3 in VNet 3. So now I have to create a communication. But before communication, let me show you like there is no communication possible uh, within the VMs. So let me SSH into the VM1 first. So I have created like Linux VMs. So peering VM1, this is created inside VNet 1. Let me grab its public IP so that I can able to SSH. So Azure user is my username, and then I am adding the public IP address for this virtual machine. And now I have to give my password. Now I successfully logged in into my VM1. Let me clear the screen. So now you can see like I'm logged in into the VM1. And as per the scenario uh, that you have seen in the PPT, let me once jump back on PPT first. So these are the 2 VMs, 2 VNets. Before peering, they must not able to communicate with each other, because that's where the isolation is occurred in Azure or any other cloud provider, that like two different virtual machines in two different VNets must not able to communicate with each other to have a like a secure. But in some scenario, there can be a chance that you need to allow communication. In that scenario, peering comes into the picture. So let's try to ping from VM1 to VM2 and see whether the connection is like whether there is connection. So I have to take, like, I'm going to ping command with count of 3, and I have to give the private IP address of virtual machine that is in VNet 2. So that will be 192.168.0.4. And how I'm guessing is like, because if you create your first virtual machine, it always starts with .4. So let me show you also once uh, before I can go ahead and create this. So that's peering VM2. And if you go in the networking component of it, in the networking, click on network interfaces. Here you can able to see the private IP 192.168.0.4. So that's what I written here. So let me run this command. So it's not able to communicate. Like you can able to see it's not going to data will not going to traverse. And the reason behind this is these two virtual machines are in completely two different virtual networks, and there is no connection that we have created to allow the communication between these two virtual networks. That's why these two VMs are not able to communicate with each other. So now the next question is, okay, Saurav, you explain the problem. What is the solution? So the solution is VNet peering. So now the question is how we can able to go ahead and do that. So let's jump onto the VNets. First, go to peering VNet 1. So first, what we are going to do is we are going to create a peering connection between VNet 1 and VNet 2. Here in the networking part of that, you will see peerings. Click on peerings, and to create, you can see there is no peering that is here. So click on add to add a new peer and give a peering name. So always it's convenient to give a name that reciprocate, like that tell what we are going. So the first connection that is happening is between VNet 1 to VNet 2. So I am going to give the name VNet 1 to VNet 2, and it tells that like the communication is between VNet 1 to VNet 2. Okay, and what it tell is that traffic to remote virtual network, like it allow traffic, outbound traffic, and also it allow the inbound type traffic. So you have a granularity that you, if you want, you can block that. Okay, the traffic only flow, there is not allowing traffic to come inside the virtual network through this peering. So you have that option also. And now, as I said, that it's not a reciprocal. So to allow connection between VNet 2 to VNet 1, so communication between VNet 2 to VNet 1, we have to create a different peering. So I am going to give VNet 2 to VNet 1. And here I'm going to select the virtual network. So okay, peering VNet 2. Okay. So now I created a peering connection between VNet 2 to VNet 1. It's now updating, so it is going to take a couple of seconds to get it established. And in the background, what's happening that it's creating a connection, a bridge connection between VNet 1 and VNet 2. And you've seen that VNet 1 is in East US region and VNet 2 is in Central India region. So it's showing the cross region communication. Okay, so that's what I created. Now let's jump to see on VNet 2. In the VNet 2, if you go on peering, you will see that there is a peering that is already getting created here also. It's from VNet 2 to VNet 1. So that's what I trend when I was showing that it's not reciprocal. Like we have to create VNet 2 to VNet 1 also. And in the console, you can see like from one VNet, you can define the communication and it will be reflected to other VNet also. Now let's create a connection between VNet 2 to VNet 3 also. So let's name it VNet 2 to VNet 3. And again, I'm going to keep everything default. And here I'm going to give it VNet 3 to VNet 2. Okay, I have to select the virtual network. So I'm going to select peering VNet 3. And I'm going to add it. So now it's adding VNet 2 to VNet 3 peering. Now I ping the same command again, ping with a count of 3 to the private IP address of VNet 2, the virtual machine that is inside the VNet 2. And now you can able to see that all the 3 packets have been received. Earlier, you seen that a 3 packet have sent, but no packet has been received. That means that there was no connection that is there. So now, once we created the peering for VNet 2 to VNet 1 and VNet 1 to VNet 2, now you can see that VNet 1 can able to ping VNet 2. So that's what we want to do in the demo. And again, like there is one more concept that we have seen, that non-transitive behavior. Like if there is a connection between VNet 1 to VNet 2 and there is a connection between VNet 2 to VNet 3, that doesn't allow VNet 1 to communicate to VNet 3. That's what we shown. Like that's what here we shown, that if there is a VNet 2, that is like there is VNet 1 that's connected to VNet 2 and VNet 2 connected to VNet 3. So these like VNet 1 can't able to ping to VNet 3. The virtual machine inside the VNet 1 can't able to ping to VNet 3 virtual machine. So let's try to demonstrate that part. So now I need a public private IP address of virtual machine 3 that is inside the VNet 3. And here let me just update, and you can see that the connection is established. Let me jump back. So I already know the IP address, but I will show you once again. 17.168.0.4. So let me just show you once again the IP address of VNet 3, private IP address. Sorry, 172.60. Yeah. So this is the private IP address of VNet 3. So because it's not allowing transitive communication, so it must not able to ping. Let's see whether it's able to ping or not. As you can see, it's not pinging. If like because there is no transitive behavior shown by VNet peering. You have seen that there VM1 sent 3 packets, but VM3 doesn't receive any packet. That means that there is no connection possible in transitive behavior. So VNet peering does not allow any transitive behavior. So any question as of now from VNet section, sorry, peering section, please do let me know. Otherwise, we will go on to the exam tips for this section. Okay, so I'm not seeing any question as of now. So let's jump onto the PPT once again. Yeah, definitely you can connect, you can peer virtual machine VNet in same region. So here in the demo, like let me do once again. In the demo, when I created a connection, I created two VMs, two virtual network in the same region. So if you see here, two virtual network, that is virtual network 1 and virtual network 3 in the same region. So if I create a peering connection between VNet 1 and VNet 3, definitely it will able to communicate. So inter region, like within a region, definitely it's allowed, and it has an additional feature of multi regions also. Like let's say if there is a virtual machine in different region, completely different region, then also you can able to communicate. So that's the flexibility. But yeah, definitely the single region connection is definitely allowed. So let's jump onto the presentation once again to have some key takeaways from this part. So key learning. Okay. So what we have learned from this section and what you need to keep in mind before going to the exam, like benefits. First thing is benefits. What VNet peering can able to provide. First thing is low latency. What that means is big. The second question is what is low latency? Low latency means that you have a fast connection between virtual networks or whatever the things that you have deployed in VNet 2. They can able to communicate very efficiently and very with a very low latency. And the reason behind that is it is using the backbone network of Microsoft Azure itself. So it's not going outside the internet or outside of the virtual net of the Azure virtual networks or Azure backbone of networking. It's inside that only. So that's why the communication is very fast and it's provide low latency and high bandwidth. Cross communication is also in that you can have a different regions, or even if you have a virtual machine, virtual network in different tenant also, you can definitely go ahead and configure it, and you can able to make a connection between these two virtual networks also, and two different virtual subscription or completely different tenants can able to communicate. Definitely you need to enable some roles for that, but you can able to do it. Second thing is peering. So first thing is there is two types of peering. First, and what that means is inter-region communication. Let's say there is two virtual networks. Let's say virtual network 1 and virtual network 3. VNet 1, VNet 3, both are in East US region, and we peering connection, so they can able to communicate with each other. That's a virtual network peering. Second, it's what's global virtual network peering is the cross-region communication. What one virtual machine, one virtual network is in East US region, and second virtual network is in Central India region, and still that is the global virtual network peering. Transitive behavior is not shown by, you can see transitivity. It is not shown by peering connection. So definitely you are going to get a question a lot. I also got confused. I was giving like 2 years back when I was giving AZ-104. I got confused about because yeah. So keep this in mind that peering doesn't allow transitive behavior. So and also reciprocality also. So what that means is like you have to do the bi-directional establishment of the connection. So then only bi-directional communication will be possible. Let's say if you need to communicate, like you need to communicate from V1 virtual network 1 to virtual network 3, and opposite also, then you have to create two connections, parallel connection. But yeah, in the from a single place only you can able to enable, as you seen in the demo itself. So that's the complete part of. Keep things in mind that it's allow regional as well as global connections. Transitivity is not allowed. Then non-reciprocal, which that if A to B connection is allowed, that doesn't confirm that B to 1 is also able to communicate. So you need to enable that part also. So now the second component of inter-site connectivity, and that's where the confusion starts. Like that's like as I said, like in the few minutes before, like I used during my certification exam, and reason behind this was VPN, because and go you may also get confused, but yeah, definitely keep these points in mind again and again. Definitely, you are not going to do the same mistake that I did. So, going to cover in this section is we will talk about what's VPN gateway and what capability Azure VPN gateway can provide. What are the different route types that are available in VPNs? Then we will see VPN gateways SKU. Then we will talk about what active and active passive communication or a connection. Then we will jump onto the console and see the demonstration. And then we will jump back and see some key learning for the exams. So what is VNet gateway and what it does? So it do the same thing. Like if you like in logically, if you understand, it do the same thing. What VNet peering does, it allow connection. So the second question that you have, like virtual and virtual network can connect with each other through VPN gateway. So the next question that you have is, then why VPN gateway? So there is a couple of capabilities that VNet provides extra that was not provided by VNet peering. Like it provides site-to-site communication or point-to-site communication. What that means is it allows you to connect your on-prem network also. Let's say you have a solution in Azure, and that your legacy solution that is in your local on-prem system. Now you need to establish a connection between these your on-prem system and the cloud system. So that communication is possible. So that's not able to you can't able to do that from you have to use VPN gateway that scenario. And the second thing is it uses gateway subnet. So while deploying, what are the key things, like what are the key components of VPN gateway? Thing is VPN gateway itself. So VNet gateway, we create a gateway inside VPR virtual network, and it creates a gateway subnet. And gateway subnet is like you've seen that like in your virtual network you do multiple subnets to provide isolation inside that also. So like according to Microsoft, like official documentation and everything, it recommended that gateway subnet need to be isolated from resources. So that's why we define gateway subnets, and it's always recommended 7 in gateway, because you don't want to give a lot of your network address space for the gateway part, because you need to deploy 1 or 2 gateway, that's all. So you don't need access to your network addresses to just to each gateway have a public IP. So what that means is it's going to internet. Like in the peering, you've seen that it's traveling through your Azure backbone network or Microsoft backbone network, but the connection between you traverse through internet. That's why it's provide the IPsec tunnel, and it is encrypted by. So always the communication is going to be encrypted so that no one can able to go ahead and see what's the communication is happening between your on-prem and your virtual network, and also at the same time uh, to provide a security. That was the reason the IPsec tunnel for encryption. So yeah, so what's the capability of Azure virtual network? So as you can see in the peering allow you to communicate or connect 2 different virtual network in your Azure. Even they can have in different subscription or different tenant. Azure. But what is it? Let's say there is a scenario when you have a complete on-prem solution, or like you as a user are working from somewhere and you need to connect to the virtual network or VPN gateway. Uh, Sorry, your virtual network. In that scenario, you are going to use point to site. And in case of complete on-prem solution, you need to communicate through your virtual network. At that scenario, you need site-to-site communication, site-to-site connection between your on-prem and your Azure solution. So just keep in mind, VNet peering is comes into the picture when you everything inside the Azure, everything inside the cloud. But VPN gateway comes into the picture when you have something in on-prem, someone in on-prem. So difference. And while we are talking about VPN gateways, let's see different types that are available. So there is a policy based, there is route based, and policy based routing means static. That let's say there is something is changing in your net dynamically, then you have to go ahead and do that manual updation of that part, and it's quite hectic, by the way. So definitely I will recommend that part. And there is one thing that it allows legacy on-prem VPN devices to be used, so you can able to use your legacy on-prem VPNs in policy-based system. It only supports IPv1, it's a version, so it's only support, and also it support only basic SKU. While for the route-based, it supports both static and dynamic routing. So let's say in scenario that your network is increasing or the devices inside your network is increasing. So Azure will take care of like this route-based things will take care of dynamic updation. You don't have to go ahead and update every time. So resilient to topology change, yeah, definitely. As the topology will change, it will automatically update the things. Yeah, it can go ahead and express route also. We are going to cover what is express route in couple of minutes, and it support IP like version 2 also, IKE version also. So yeah, so that's definitely the SKU type. So you have basic that has a maximum of site to site 10 tunnel, and for all these AZ GW1, GW2, GW3, it support maximum of 30. Difference between throughputs. So based upon your networking requirement, you can use either 650 Mbps speed or 1 GB speed or 1.2 Gbps speed. And it like basic doesn't support BGP, that is borderline gateway protocol. So that's where can't have a dynamic routing. And here it's in the note, you can see that basic VPN gateway is only allowed for dev test. Definitely you can't use, go ahead and use for your production based environment because it doesn't allow, and even it doesn't support upgradation. So you have to completely read gateway in case you need to upgrade your SKU. The next thing that we seen that is active and active passive so active connection, like it's when you connect your let's say Azure solution with your on-prem solution. So you create a VNet gateway, and there is a virtual network gateway device on your local system also, on-prem system also, and you use IPsec tunnel. And in the scenario to provide a high resilient architecture, you have you deploy, like it's recommended to deploy two different VNet gateways. And in case of active, both the tunnels, both the connections are allowed. What that means, it both will be active and you can able to communicate with both. In case of active and passive, only one tunnel at a time will be allowed, and second will be as a backup. Let's say one tunnel work at particular time, then only you can go ahead other VNet gateway. That is the scenario for what is by active, passive implementation. So let's jump onto the Azure and see how it happens. Till the time any question you can have, definitely ask here. Feel free to ask any question that you have. So for the VPN demo RG also, I have created some architecture. So yeah, again I try to replicate what we have did in last uh, peering demo. So here you can see I have created a virtual network. Let me just show you. Yeah, virtual network 1, that is in East US region. Then you have virtual network VNet 2, that is in Central India region. Then you have virtual network 3, that is inside your East US region again. So now what you can see is, let's let's see how to deploy the network gateway. Though I already deployed the network gateway, and the reason behind this is the deployment of virtual network gateway used to take 30 to 45 minutes, and it is shown in the uh, Azure documentation itself that it used to take, and for me also it takes around 30 minutes. So deploying it in the live session is going to be very tough. But yeah, let me show you how to do that. So first I created three different virtual networks: VNet 1, VNet 2, VNet 3. And let's say I need to create a virtual network gateway to connect VNet 1 to VNet 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search virtual network gateways. As you can see, I created three different virtual networks gateway. Like one is on-prem, like to replicate, like definitely I don't have a complete on-prem system. So I try to replicate something inside the Azure itself as the on-prem, that we are going to like assume that it is a on-prem system. Then we have our primary section, that is VPN NG. And then we have a secondary region, that is VPN, VNG, a second region. So I will show you how to create that, because definitely you're going to expect a couple of questions from the creation step itself. So click on create. Here select the appropriate subscription, and to connect to the virtual network, make sure to select the same region that where your virtual network is there. So my complete solution is mainly in East US, so I'm going to select East US. You can give the name like virtual network gateway VNG test, something whatever you want. Here you have option of VPN and express route. Express route we are going to cover in later section. So in the VPN type, here only I shown that policy based and route based. So definitely I'm going to use route based, which allow dynamic updates. So I don't have to go ahead and do the complete upgradation once, like every time. Here you can select different virtual network which you want to connect. Okay, so for which you want to create the virtual network gateway. Select VPN VNet 1. So here you can see this virtual network gateway is already having a virtual network. Sorry, this virtual network is already having a virtual network gateway. So what that means is there is already a virtual network, that virtual network gateway that is deployed in this virtual network, because I already created this simulation environment. So let's say I select VNet peering. So now here you can see it's showing 10.0.1/24, but from Microsoft, it's quite recommended to use 27, because you've seen that once I selected VNet, VPN VNet, it shows that VNet virtual network gateway can be deployed one virtual network. Okay, so giving a complete 24 address space going to just waste your address space. It's not very much useful. So to avoid that situation, always use 27. It's just recommended. Yeah. So here use public IP address, create new. So let's say demo web. I'm creating, and here you can select different availability zone. I'm selecting availability zone 1, and here the option to enable active mode. So by default, uh, active passive will be allowed, but to enable active, you can go ahead and enable it, and also configure BGP. That's what I shown. You can go ahead and enable that part also. Now, if you go ahead and click on create, It's now validating all the details that I have provided. Now it's validating the details that I have given. Till the time, let's see if there is any question. Guys, you can ask question if you have any question. Oh, so it got cancelled because I already created one. So let me show you I created this. So once I will go on to the console, let's open the resource group in the VPN demo org, because deployment mainly take around 30 to 45 minutes. So definitely it's out of range of this demo to do it in the live demonstration itself. So that was the reason I already created. So you can see on-prem VNG is already there. Then I created VNG second region and VNG VPN, what I created earlier only. So let's go inside one virtual network gateway. So once the virtual network gateway will be deployed, you will be coming on this page itself. And here to establish a connection, so you need to create a virtual network gateway in all the subnets. So let's say you want to communicate VNet 1 to VNet 2, you have to create a one virtual network gateway in VNet 1 and one virtual network gateway in VNet 2. Then to establish a connection, you have to go into the connections and create a connection with that. So I created the connection here. To create a connection, you have to click on add. Then you have to give a name. So always use the same name hierarchy like as I showed earlier, to VNet 3, let's say. And then here you have to select the virtual network gateway for other reason. So let's say you selected second reason, and then here you have to give a shared key. And while in creating it for the second region, you have to give the same shared key to that also, so that it can show like, okay, this is the communication that we are creating. So always give the same name that you are giving here to once you are creating for the second region, second VNet. And once you're going to click on OK, it is going to create a connection. And like after creating connection, it's going to take 5 to 10 minutes for the complete deployment ready, and then it will show like something like this. So it's after 5 to 10 minutes, it's going to show connected. Like as you can see in my scenario, it's connected, and it is going to take at least 5 to 10 minutes. So make sure to wait till the time, and the status will be changing from not created to created, then updating to connected, something like that. Okay. So always be patient when you are creating something on a networking part, because it takes time. Like deployment of VNet virtual network gateway is going to take approx 30 to 45 minutes. So make sure that you have that much of time, or you can just go ahead and create that and go ahead and grab some coffee or have a break and come back till the time your deployment will be ready. So now I created the connection, and let's see like whether now we have created the connection. So it's machine inside these virtual networks must able to communicate with each other. So I have to showcase that part. Let me jump back, go to VM1. Let me grab the public IP so that I can able to SSH into the instance. My name is same username. So I created a connection between VNet 1 to VNet 3. So now I need to see what's the private IP address of VNet 3 so that we can check whether the communication is going or not. So here is a public IP address. Okay. So ping, I'm using again the ping command with number of iteration 3 and then 10.3.0.4, and here you can see it's connecting. It's connecting. So now how you can imagine the situation? Let's say your virtual network 1, that is VNet 1, was in Azure, and VNet 2, that is your like what I named is as on-prem, that was in your on-prem complete solution. And now you need to have a communication between them, but there is no default communication that is allowed by default, because this is a complete two isolated and completely different networks. Now you need to enable the communication. So what we are going to do? You are going to use Azure Virtual Network Gateway, and the steps will be you need to deploy Virtual Network Gateway in both the sites, like virtual network gateway on the on-prem side and as well as on the your Azure side. And then you need to establish a connection between them. After the connection will be there, once you'll try to ping or connect with each other, definitely you can able to see this result. That is, it's connecting. So that's what we are going to simulate in the environment, and this is what I can able to show. But in the same scenario, let's say you want to show something more in that scenario, you can go ahead and create local area gateway, local network gateway, which will emulate more towards the on-prem solution. Let's say you want to deploy the complete on-prem solution, then you have to, like in case of virtual network gateway, you can go ahead and create a like local area, local gateway, and that solution also you can able to go ahead and use in the same scenario as we have shown here. So definitely you can try that. But also if you have something in on-prem network, so definitely it can be very much demonstrating also. But yeah, it's really hectic also to simulate everything, because small changes getting affect in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So you have to keep being patient while doing these parts. So that was it for VPN gateway section. Let me see if there is any question. So okay, so we are not seeing any question as of now. Let's jump on the PPT. So this is the step you need to understand what's all the steps you need to configure. So first you need to create a VNet, and inside that you need to have a subnet where your virtual machines, everything will be deployed. Then you have your definitely the DNS server you need to specify. Then create a gateway subnet inside that, and after the gateway subnet, you will be deploying gateway VPN gateway. And when I'm saying VPN gateway subnet, always keep /27. It is highly recommended to use that. Then you are going to deploy a virtual network gateway. On the local side, you can create local network gateway. That's what I said, for to more towards the on-prem system. And then you can go ahead and configure the VPN device that you have in the on-prem system, and then establish the connection on the Azure platform itself. So let me show you something. So while you are going to create virtual network gateway, let me go on one of them that's already created to showcase something. While you are going into the connection, so here while creating a connection, you have multiple options. Like I selected VNet to VNet connections, that you can able to see, like all the connection that I created using VNet to VNet. That's emulating the scenario that, let's say you have VNet 1 and VNet 2, and you want to have a connection between them. And this was both in Azure itself. But as I said, it allow point to site VPN also and site to site VPN also. So that scenario, you can go ahead and use site to site IPsec tunnel. That's what we told. So you can select IPsec, and then on the Azure side, you can select your Azure network, and then you have to select the local network gateway that will be representing your on-prem solution. Okay, so that's way itself you can emulate the environment for your on-prem solution. Okay, so that is the scenario for on-prem. And also there is option for express route, but yeah, that will be covering the next section what express route is. But yeah, definitely it's not get asked a lot during the exam. So that's why you need to keep in mind about virtual network gateway and difference between virtual network gateway and VNet peering, when to use one, when to not use one. So that will be the scenario. Like as I told that in VNet peering section, that VNet peering doesn't transitive connections, right? But VPNs allow communication. Let's say I have a VPN gateway between VNet 1 to VNet 2, and then I have a VPN connection between VNet 2 to VNet 3. Then connection from VNet 1 and VNet 3 will be allowed automatically. So it's allowed transitive behavior. So that's a key difference also for VPN gateway. If you need something for a transitive behavior and all, VPN gateway then. The next service for inter-site connectivity is express route. So what we are going to cover in this section, we will describe what is express route is, the implementation step, and this will be a small section because we can't able to go ahead and create the complete express route solution because it's a complete course and it's complete different section. So we can't able to go ahead and do that in this demo itself, and then we'll jump back and see the key learning for this section. So the first question that you may have is, okay, Saurav, what's the express route is? So express route allow a dedicated connection between your Azure solution and your on-prem solution. So as of now, you've seen that using VPN gateway, you can able to communicate on-prem and Azure through IPsec tunnel. But in case of express route, it allows you to have a dedicated connection between your solution and Azure. It is completely regional solution, like regional in terms of what I'm saying, that definitely like the complete cabling will be there and everything will be deployed, and it's for large scale organizations. Yeah, definitely we can't go ahead and use this solution because it's not useful. It costs a lot. Express route is for the scenario when you have a complete solution of on-prem also, and you have a complete solution in Azure also, and you want to use something that is there in like Office 365, Intune, SharePoint Online or SharePoint on-prem, and want to have a dedicated connection between on-prem and Azure solution, go ahead and do the use express route, and express will be used through partner edge. Like in the Azure solution, we are going to use Microsoft Edge locations from where the connections will be there. So you know that there is a lot of edge locations that is there in Azure. So to have a connection, we are using Azure, Microsoft, and in your IP solutions, in your private solution, what you're going to do is you are going to use your partner edge. So you can go ahead and select a partner from Microsoft portal itself. And what they are going to do is they are going to create a complete dedicated channel connection from your on-prem solution to the partner edge solution. And also they will create a dedicated channel between that help you communicate from Microsoft Edge location to your location using partner edge. So this is a complete dedicated solution, and it uses something called VLAN ID and ASN number to create this express route connection, and it is completely dedicated solution, and it costs a lot. So you have to keep this in mind. And once able to communicate from VNet, so to communicate, you have to again deploy the gateway part or connection gateway to to able to communicate. So again, you have to deploy that part also, what we deployed in VPN gateway section. Yeah, so how to create express route connection. So let's say if you ask, like, let's say you have some big application next day, and there is a on-prem system and there is Azure system, and they need to create something solution to have a dedicated isolated solution inside that. So you have to go ahead and start through creating express route circuit. Then that express route circuit will generate a service key, and this service key you have to give to the uh, service provider, what we call here as edge, like partner edge. You have to give that partner edge service key to your partner edge, and they will create a dedicated solution for you. And it is a physical connection between your on-prem network to Microsoft Edge application. And then you create a peering, we are doing in, like, in the last two sections. Then you have to create a virtual network gateway to enable the communication. That's why if you see that in the virtual network gateway section, you have the option for VPN as well as express route. So express route used in this section itself. Jump onto the console and see something like what we can able to at least emulate in our scenario. Definitely go ahead and have something like Azure solution, or like sorry, Microsoft solution, or Azure on-prem solution. So we can't able to showcase that part, but let's see what we can able to show in the console. Till the time, if you have any question, feel free to ask. So let's jump back here. Search for express route. So yeah, here you see express route circuit and express route direct. So what express route direct do is, it will not use a service provider. It, like Microsoft itself, if they have a direct connection from from your local networks to on-prem network to Azure, you can able to go ahead and use that part also. But for partner edge solution, you have to use express route circuit. Sorry, I'm not very well today, so that's why maybe you were getting a little bit distracted. So sorry for that. So here you have to again select the subscription. Then you have to select a resource group. Let's say I'm selecting VPN, and let's give it a name. Let's say ER01. Go to the configuration. So here you can see port type, it can be provider and direct. And what means the provider is, like, you are going to use some service provider from Microsoft partner service provider to use that, or you can have something like a direct connection. Like if you have something direct resource, you can able to go ahead and use that. But for our scenario, as we don't have, we can use provider. And if you already have some connection, you can import that. And if not, create new. I have to create new. And here you can see all the provider that will be available in that area. Like, as I selected East US. So let's select India and see who all provide in the India region. So let's say select India, and here. So okay, here you can see there is lot of partner solution that are available, and there is Geo, there is Airtel, and other big companies also. Let's say you selected Airtel, then you have to give the peering location. So they have two peering location that is available, that is Mumbai and Chennai. So you have to choose which is the nearest location for you. Let's say Mumbai is nearest for me, and then you have to select the bandwidth, like bandwidth, what all the like how much data you are like traversing from this express route. So you have option from 50 MB to 10 GB. So based upon your requirement, you can select what's the requirement for you. and definitely the more bandwidth you will purchase, the more cost it is going to incur you. So definitely use what best suited for you. Let's say I am choosing 10 GB PS speeds. And here is the SKU part. So here with the basic SKU, like local SKU, you can see only it allow one or two regions to connect with each other. And in case of standard, you have multiple regions available so that you can go ahead and connect with the multiple regions solution. And in the premium, it allow you to have a 4K plus route, and also it has a 10 virtual network and global connectivity that is allowed in the premium SKU options. So let's say we are going to use standard, and in the billing model, you can either choose a metered based billing or you can use unlimited. So meter based billing will be charged. So in express route, you are not charged for the traffic that is coming inside your Azure cloud, but definitely you will be charged what is going outside from Azure to your local system or your on-prem system. So that will be charged. So either you can go ahead and use a metered charging, or you can go ahead and use unlimited. And when I say unlimited, it is going to like cost more as compared to metered. So go ahead and click on review and create. So if I will go ahead and create this, then it will generate access key for me. That will be like service key. Key I have to give to my dedicated education to API. I have to select between using string connection, go to the network, create connection using virtual network gateway. So have the service and system here. And like any demo cancel it. And it is not getting overview. When over the question that you see, use how using use VPN like or VPN or always like to use VPN and to use it. So I or calculation use that else the back you can and you can that and so you have connectivity to and you have to bank that for example you can use it for and that it's not scripted as in gateway section I so you can with you and all maybe to complete in a question they can say so in that scenario go ahead and use instead of using also can you where the or not if there is network we find go ahead no a lot of data we have Microsoft Office so in tune all like in point all prem that your in that you have uh, is WAN. So we will start with describing WAN, what then how to means, and then we will see part and some key from this section that you may have definitely is virtual WAN. You can have a solution for on-prem. You can have two, three, to site to site, multi site, unit will be solution, and that's the problem by using WAN. You have sectors that is trying to site to different. Just give me 1 minute. Give this one. Am I audible now? Can anyone confirm once? Is my voice is clear? Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, sorry for that. I guess there is some network issue at my side. So like I was not audible for like how long? Can anyone tell like in terms of minutes, like for how long you are not able to hear me, so that I can repeat the topics that I covered? I guess a lot of part is covered. So from WAN, okay, from WAN, okay, okay. So let's start with the WAN again. So this is the last service that we are going to cover for intersite connectivity. So we will start our lecture with describing what's WAN is. Then we will see what's hub to hub connectivity means. Then we will jump on to what is virtual WAN SKU, and then we will see something on demonstration, and then we will jump on to the console PPT once again and see some key learning from this section. So what's then you have a question like what's virtual WAN is, sort of, can you explain that, or what that means is, and why it comes into the picture of networking or inter-site connectivity. So as you can see as of now that we have a multiple solution, we have multiple VNets, we can have like a multiple site to site connection, we have on-prem solution, we have point to site connection, and these all connections are like one on one connection. You need to connect one with each other. Think about it, how complicated this scenario is going to be if you have like let's say you have your app let's say application in like deployed different application or different uh, let's say services or application or anything in terms of Azure or on prem. in different region. Let's say you have deployed in something in East US, then Central India, then West US, then Africa, then China, any country. And think about like you have a dedicated on-prem system, let's say something in India, Central India also, then you have an office in US also, you have office in Seattle also. So this is a complete common scenario, because you, like we in the IT world are seeing like every city or like every big city has the let's simple example of Microsoft. Let's say Microsoft has a different location. There is a location in Noida, there is location in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and in world you can think about like there is a lot and lot of physical locations where the solution will be there, and people will be trying to connect from that solution to Azure, or let's say a single platform, and there can be chance that there is some on-prem system or point-to-site connection in that scenario, and everything need to be connected. So what comes, like how we're gonna do that? It's going to be quite complicated system, and when we are using cloud, the main reason to use cloud is like to save time, to save work, so that we don't have to focus a lot on these things like configuring everything from scratch. We need solutions for these part. So using WAN, you can have a solution which allow communication on a single point where you can connect all your solutions from VNet to point-to-site connections. That include, like you can see, it is enabled site-to-site connection to point-to-site connection. You can also enable like express route based connections also, and also VNet to VNet connections will be enabled. You can use, and also you can use like encrypted connections also, and you can use Azure firewall with that. So this is the solution when you have to complete different solution with a single platform, and you want to have a single connection so that don't have to connect like let's say point to site to on-prem to VNet to again everything. It like, and they can able to communicate with each other. So it's allowed transitive behavior. So here is a scenario. Let's say you have a hop to hop connectivity. What that means is there is complete two dedicated solution. Let's say this is the solution East US, and this is a solution in West US or like Central India. And there is a complete hop solution in here. Like here they have a point to site connection. Then there is a on-prem. Then there is a VNet. Everything is there. And same way this will be there. Okay. And now you can enable a connection between hop to hop also. So that type of connection is also possible. And virtual WAN SKU provide you with two different options, that is the basic and standard. So basics only supports site to site VPN connections only, and to use other services or other capabilities you have to upgrade it to standards. So the question is what standard support. So standard support everything, that it support express route, it select VNet to VNet connection, so everything will be supported in standard. So let's jump onto the console and see the WAN, how it works. So now I'm back onto my console. Yeah. So okay. So let's create a WAN. On the search bar, search for WAN. Click on virtual WANs to start. So I have one WAN already created, and I will show you why I created this WAN. Click on create WAN. Here you have to again select the subscription. I guess there is some, let me just refresh the page once again. I guess there is some issue with the internet from my side. So let me refresh my page. Okay. So I'm selecting the resource group. Here you can select the region where you want to deploy your WAN. I'm selecting East US. Give your WAN name. So I'm using WAN02. And in the type, you can either select basic and standard. So I'm going to use standard one. And go ahead, click on create to create the WAN. Now the WAN deployment is started. So now what it's doing, it's deploying the WAN solution. And once it will be deployed, you can able to see how the hop and hop based connection will possible, and how point to site or site to site and other benefits you can able to use from WAN itself. So that will provide you complete dedicated solution in your Azure. So like that will be a single point where you can connect your all your solutions from different regions to on-prems to site to site solution, and everything will show a transitive behavior. So you don't have to like do a one-on-one connection with everything. So now it's deployed. Let's jump onto the WAN. So that this is how the WAN overview page will look like. You can see the resource group where it is deployed, and subscription and everything will be seen. So the more important thing what you want to know is like connectivity. What's different connectivity is allowed? So here is the option for a hop to hop based connection. Then you can have a site to site connection, that is VPN sites. You can have a user VPN configuration, that is like a point to site connection, you can think of it. And you can have a express route circuit connections also. And then you can have a virtual network connections, like that is VNet to VNet connections. But it is recommended to use hop to hop based connection. Let's say you can one hop per region, and everything in that region connect to one hop, and deploy another hop in different region, and do a connection with that part. So this is how it will be like recommended, and that's where you can able to troubleshoot any issue if any issue occur in your network. Otherwise, if you just go ahead and create one hop and deploy everything in that, so in case of any problem that is happening with the connection, troubleshooting will be very much tough in that scenario. So that's why it's highly recommended to use one hub in each section, in each region. So here it is selecting the resource group, everything by default. Here you can give it a name. So let's say I'm giving hub 01. Then you have to give a hub private IP address, and this address must be unique. So you don't have anything, any virtual network or anything in that address space. I have a lot of things, so I have to think about what for that. Yeah, okay. So this is allowed. So I'm going to use 10.9.0.0/16. And here you can select like what's the infrastructure type will you have two infrastructure unit, four infrastructure unit, multiple infrastructure unit you can see. So based upon your requirement and what you are going to use, you can select it. So I'm going to use two route infrastructure unit and 3 Gbps routes for that. So now here you can see you can enable site to site, point to site, express route, these type of connection from here itself by allowing yes. or you can just go ahead and do that later once the deployment will be complete. So I will going to do that once deployment will be complete. So here, if you read, it's showing that creating a hub with a gateway will take 30 minutes. So that's what the problem. Like that's what the main thing about networking components. It's like when you have to deal with networking component or inter-site connectivity components, you need to be patient because everything takes a lot of time. Like deploying a VPN gateway take 30 to 45 minutes. Deploying a hub take 30 minutes. So you have to keep being patient on that part. So I'm not going to keep on click on create because it's going to take 30 minutes to get it deployed. And because of that reason only, I already deployed a van that has the deployment ready to show you all about what we can able to do with that. So guys, if my voice will be breaking again, please do let me know. Then I have to switch my network. But yeah, please do inform me if there is any problem you are facing with the voice. There is some like there is a rain going on at my location. Because of that, I guess my Wi-Fi is not very good today. So yeah. So here I already deployed a van, that is van 01, and inside the van I deployed the hub also, so that we can see like how the things happen inside the van. Uh, Guys, am I audible? Can you confirm once? Okay, okay. Thanks, everyone. Let me share my screen once again. Sorry for the glitch. Like there is raining at my location, so because of that, I guess there is a network issue. So sorry for that. So we are doing the demo on WAN. So as I told that because it used to take 30 minutes to deploy a hop, so I already deployed a VNet with the hop there. So let me show that. So here you can see that one hop is I already deployed. So click on that. So here you can able to see your network topology, complete network topology, what all the VNets you are connected, what are the VPN, site to site VPN you are connected, or point to site VPNs are connected, express route, Azure firewall, virtual like network virtual appliances. So you can able to like monitor every connection from for your networking solution from single platform. So in case of any troubleshooting or any problem occurring in your network system, you this is the single platform, single place where you have to come and look for everything. So here you can see connectivity option. You have VPN, express route, point to site, and routing. You can have a BGP peers also and route tables. So you can able to do that. Also you can manage some security level on your WAN using virtual network firewall and firewall managers. So these type of capability that is provided using WAN. So this is all we needed to know in terms of WAN and also in terms of inter-site connectivity. So definitely you need to know, go ahead and do a little bit more demo, do hands-on by yourself, deploy the complete lab scenario that I deployed in the demo part by yourself to test everything is working or not, troubleshoot the problem, because whenever you are doing that, definitely you will encounter some problem, and while solving it, the best learning will be there only. So I will highly recommend at least do the demo part on these sections like VNet peering, gateway, subnet, virtual network gateway, and WAN, express route. Definitely you can't do the complete hands-on demonstration, but yeah, definitely try to see what all like virtual network circuits are there, how to create keys, and connections is important. So go ahead and use these parts. So these will be the complete inter-site connectivity sections. Now we are jumping onto the conclusion, I mean like the last section of the AZ-104 Bootcamp technical part. So this will be the last technical section that you will be seeing in AZ-104 certification also, and in this bootcamp also. So we will start with what is app service plan. Then we will go ahead and use what are the compute types that are available in app service plan. Then we will see the difference between a traditional and app service, and then we will jump onto the console and create an app service plan, and then we will see some key learning from this section. So first question that you may have is, okay, Saurav, now we are coming to the conclusion part, but you talk about what is app service. So the first question is, what is app service? So app service define a set of compute resources for your web apps. So let's say you want to run your web application or web app, and so app service plan provide you a complete compute resources, everything that is required for your web app to run on the Azure. So that will be the key part of what app service plan provide you. So what all need to be there in app service? So it start with the region. So definitely you have to choose a region where you want to deploy your app service and where you deploy your application also. So definitely choose the web app service plan in the region where you want to deploy your application. Number of VMs. So here you can go ahead and select the number of VMs that you will be using for your app service. And the third thing is the size of the VM. So whether you need a small VM size or medium or large VM size instance, based on that you can choose the size of VM. Then you can go ahead and choose the pricing tier. So there are different pricing tier that are available, from free to share to basic, premium, and all. Isolated also there, so you can go ahead and choose based upon your requirement. Then there is mainly three pricing tier that is available, three core compute types that are available for app service plan. First, start with shared. So what that means is like it run application on the same VMs as other apps. So your apps will be running on the same VM whether the other apps will be running. So in that scenario, as it is a shared resource, you can't go ahead and scale out in that scenario. So that will be the restriction for shared solution, shared compute solution. Then the second option that we have is dedicated. So, and obviously the pricing will be going to increase from shared to dedicated to isolated. So in case of dedicated, you have a dedicated app service plan uh, on a dedicated VM. So your app service plan will be on a complete dedicated VM, and it will provide you a isolated compute solution for your app service. So your compute solution will be isolated. But to have a complete isolation, you need to have a isolation on a network level also. So if you are using isolated system, then your application will be run on dedicated VMs and dedicated VNets. So your VNets will be dedicated and your app will be dedicated also. So that type of isolation will be provided using isolated system, so in this pricing model. So now you may have the question, okay, Saurav, why I go ahead and use Azure for deploying my app service? Why I don't go ahead and deploy my web app on my traditional data center the way it used to work earlier before the cloud comes into the picture? So earlier, what you used to do to deploy a single app, let's say you have to deploy any single app, what you need to do? So you need to have a dedicated system, traditional system. You need to have a dedicated data center for that, and inside the data center you have to have a rack server, and inside the rack server you have, and if each rack server is like a compute solution or a complete solution for your application to deploy any application on that. And to deploy your application, you are going to deploy a load balancer, and load balancer will be targeting to these virtual machines that will be deployed, that will be there on the rack server. And once the user will try to access the this app, this will go through the your load balancer. Then it will transfer the traffic to one of the virtual machine that is deployed on a rack. uh, so you can see, like, you have to do a lot of administrator. You have to you have to deploy the complete data center. Inside the data center you have to manage all the racks. Inside the rack you have to manage your virtual machines, the patching, configuration, everything. You have to manage your load balancers also, everything, the security part of your application, everything you need to manage in the traditional system. So that's the huge work, and definitely I guess no one want nowadays to do a lot of work on like these things that can be automated, that can have other solutions. So that's where the Azure come into the picture. So what you do is you just deploy a web app service plan and web apps app service, and inside that what it does, it's create a virtual machine inside that. And any user when try to access the web app, it going to the web app service plan, and it will transfer the traffic to below of any of this virtual machine. So we don't have to think about anything, this virtual machine will be deployed or not, this anything, the networking component, the application load balancer part, everything. We don't have to think about anything. We just need to deploy our app service plan. Inside the app service plan we deploy our app service or web app, and everything will be done. We don't have to think about managing infrastructure. And our solution will be definitely highly available, scalable, secure. Everything will be provided by Azure itself. So we get a lot of flexibility there. So what are the key learning for app service plan? So app service plan, before that, let's jump onto the console and create an app service plan to see how the things happen. So uh, I guess we are going to take a little bit more time today for the complete demo, because there is a lot of sections to cover, like we cover today. So that's a lot of hands-on part. So click on app service plan to create a, So I already have a web app service plan, but for this demo, I'm going to create a new. So here you have to select again the subscription where you want to deploy your web app. Sorry, app service plan. Then select the resource group. So I'm selecting web app RG. Give your app service plan a name. Here you have the option to choose which operating system your application will be like app service plan will be using, whether it's Linux or Windows. So let's keep it default. Then you have the option to choose the region also, in which region you want to deploy your app service. So it's central US. So here you have the SKU size and the sizing. Once you click on that, you can able to see different sizing options that are available, and you can choose between dev test to production environment to isolated environment based upon your requirement. So here you can see you have different option. If you select dev test, you have option for F1 B1, and what is the infrastructure that will be covered. It cover memory, storage. And once you select B1, as you can see, it increase the options, like it provide you custom domain SSL, it provide compute units, memory, and it also allow manual scaling options will be there. It will provide you a persistent storage also. So more you go on a higher level, more options, more flexibility will be provided to you. So if you go ahead and use anything on the production level, you will be getting more options, more availability, and more use case also. Like it will provide you staging slots, backup will be provided, traffic manager will be provided. So these things you will be getting auto scaling options. So the more higher plan you will be going, the more options you will be getting in terms of deploying your web apps. So for this demo, let's choose B1S and go ahead, click on review and create. And you can go ahead and create the web app. But I already created the web app, so there is no need to do that. So I already created a web app service plan here. As you can see, here is the app service plan that I already deployed. So here is the setting option that you can see, like you can configure different thing, like what all the apps that are deployed in this app service plan. You can see whether the file store is there or not. So I already deployed a web app in this section. So you can able to see the web app that is already there. But if you create a new one, definitely you'll not be seeing the web app. Then you can go ahead and select, like you can have a file system, networking options will be there. You can configure your networking section. So in this, let's say you want to isolate your VMs, sorry, web app. You don't want to make your web app public. So you have the option to do that from here itself. You can also do the scaling up and scaling down, scaling out options. These things you can configure from here itself. So these type of options that is provided in app service plan. So that is pretty much it about app service. So app service plan defined like a compute resources that is available for your web app. So definitely what all the compute resources that you will be needing for your web app, you can go ahead and select that. Then comes the app service. Uh, yeah, you have a different compute types that are available. Like you can use shared, you can use dedicated, you can use isolated, as per your requirement. That provide like these different level, provide your compute level isolation, network level isolation, and also features like scaling out, scaling in, scaling up. These features will be provided based upon compute type you are choosing. And also while defining a compute plan, you need to define the pricing tier that you want to deploy your app service plan, the size of VM instances, uh, pricing of a number of VM instances that you need to deploy, and also the regions. So, and also app service plan is a platform as a service solution. So keep this in mind that app service plan is a, So this will be provided. Now let's see how to create web apps. So now we created a isolation, like we created a app service plan, but inside the app service plan we need to create web apps, right? So that will be the next section. So here we'll be seeing how to, like, what all the feature of web app is, web app architecture. Then we will see the configuration part, like configuring a custom domain. Auto scaling will be there. Deployment options, deployment slots is there. You can configure networking options is there, and you can even configure the backup options that are there. So what are the features that app service web app provide? So it is a managed infrastructure, so you don't have to think about creating, like, manage doing the patching, maintaining, configuring the underlying hardware. You don't have to think about anything because it's a platform as a service solution, so everything is provided by default. Then this solution is highly available because it's running on Azure platform as a service solution, so it has a backup node always ready to in case of any failover or anything. Auto scaling in and out, so scaling capability is there, so you can configure the scaling capabilities based upon the app service plan that you have chosen. So you can go ahead and deploy scaling out and scaling in capability for your application. So this is a, even though it's not a serverless solution, but it is a completely development focused solution. So you go ahead and focus on your doing the coding part of that. You don't have to think about like managing your application. There is some security breach. These things you don't need to do that. Azure will take care of that. So you focus on more important part, like creating the solution. So that's the flexibility that provided by Azure. And also you have a deployment slot, so you can use CI/CD deployment. You must have been hearing these terms a lot in the industry, like CI/CD DevOps, because these are the field that is quite trending nowadays. So, and web app is already a key part of that CI/CD deployment, because everything that you do with the CI/CD you need to deploy somewhere, and app service is one of the great solution to deploy. Then you have also it support integration, so you can like enable ADBs integration for your web app, so that like authentication will be there. So let's jump onto the console and see how to create the web app. Till the time, if you have any question, let me know. Okay, there is no question as of now, so let's create the web app. Search for app service. Here I have one app already deployed. Let's create a new app. I'm going to deploy it in my web app RG resource group, and let's give a name, demo session app. And here you have option of deploying the code using either publishing it using code or container instance, or even now it's a new option that you have is static web apps, like you can host your static web app also using web app. So that is new capability that is provided. Here you can use stack, runtime stack, like what type of application you are deploying, whether it's .NET, whether it's PHP, whether it's Java. So based upon your requirement you can choose this. So I'm choosing .NET. Then you can select the region must be the place where most of your users will be there, like let's say most of your user are from Mumbai region or India region, so you can go ahead and choose India here to provide low latency for your application. Here you can go ahead and select like here it will choose the web app plan, app service plan. So either you can select from already created app service plan, or you can go ahead and create new one. So let's create new one, not use that. So app plan new. Okay, so I'm creating new one in the deployment slot. In the deployment slot, you can enable continuous deployment of your application. So what that means is, let's say you have a web app and you can just go ahead and update something in the code in your GitHub repository, and it is automatically going to trigger the new deployment of your application. So that type of flexibility that is provided in the app service. So you can go ahead and use this type of flexibility of continuous deployment. So you just have to think about coding, and you don't have to think about like whether deployment is done or not. You don't have to go ahead and deploy every time whenever the change is happening. So that things can be automated. Then comes the networking. You can enable networking in that. Here you have a monitoring options, like you can enable application insight and everything for your application. So that we don't need for your demo purpose. So we are not going to focus on that part. So let's click on review and create, and click on create to create the web app. So now it's submitting my requirement. So what is doing is it's deploying, first it's deploying a app service plan, and inside the app service plan it's deploying a web app that I defined, and that is going to be a demo web app, like just a demo page showing that okay, my deployment is done and my web app is ready. So that is just a basic deployment that is going to be available for us. So till the deployment is going on, if anyone has any question, please let us know. Any question as of now? How I can move application inside resources? So like what type of resource you want to move, like that will be the question first, like to answer, because based upon the requirement, like application inside, like you are saying to deploying some different application inside resource, or like I'm not getting the question. uh, Rajesh, if you can explain a little bit more, then we can take. And yeah, like PHP, yeah, PHP support is ending, definitely. Thanks Moha to inform that. So but still as of now you can do that for the demo purpose, but yeah, for the development environment, I guess no one is like not uh, someone is using that a lot in terms of industry level. But yeah, if you already have any, like let's say some banking or finance based company use PHP based application, so that doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and use your application. If your application is already deployed, definitely you will be using. It's just that Microsoft will not be providing any support in terms of, let's say if some issues will be occurring or anything that happens to your web app. So in that scenario, you are not no, like Microsoft will not be providing a solution to you. So that you have to keep in mind if you're using anything older than what suggested by Microsoft. So till the time we are like discussing, the app is deployed. Here you can see the basic page of your web app, and here it's showing the resource group where it deployed and all the resources. You can click on browse to see the demo app that is deployed, and it's just a demo page that's showing that okay, your app is ready. But the more fun is like how to configure your own required web app when based upon your requirement. So that's where the quick start comes into the picture. Let's say you want to create any ASP.NET application or PHP application, Java application, Python application. You can just click on these links, and Microsoft, it will redirect to you to a Microsoft documentation where you can go ahead and deploy by reading that. Here you have the option of deployment slots, and what that means is, let's say you have multiple, like if you're like managing multiple version of your application. Let's say there is already a version that is like available in public, and in scenario, let's say you have updated something, so you don't want to like the update is available to all the user at a single time. So you can like deploy multiple version of our application, and you can deploy the traffics like, okay, 30% of the user will be going on the new version of the application, and 70% will be on the older version. So once like you will be getting good feedback about the new version, then you can just migrate all your user to the new version, or you can just do the swap. So your production environment will be swapped to your local environment, like the where you will be doing the changes like the development environment. So you can do such type of changes. Here comes the development center, where you can do your custom deployment. Let's say you want to deploy your own app, so how you're going to do that? So that's where it comes into the picture. So you can go ahead and deploy your apps like solution. So here you have a different option, like you can go ahead and integrate with uh, GitHub, you can use Bitbucket, you can use local Git, you can even use a DevOps solution, that is Azure repos, that will provide you more CI/CD approach to your application. Also, you have manual deployment, like you can use external Git or OneDrive or Dropbox for deploying your application. So I'm using GitHub. Now, if you haven't configured your organization, so it will ask you to sign up to your GitHub account. But as I already did, so it is showing my account itself. Then I will be selecting my organization. In the repository, I have to check the repository name for my web app. So let me just check that. So this is my GitHub profile. Here I deployed a demo app just for this demonstration, and it is available on Microsoft Doc itself. So you can go ahead and use from that also, or you can just fork from my repository itself. And yeah, so this is the name. So I'm just going to copy the name, .NET. I'm selecting .NET. So this is basically a hello world app, and I'm selecting master branch, and now I'm going to save. So now what's it doing? It is deploying like it's like taking the code from our GitHub account and running the build. And once the build will be completed, it is going to deploy our web app onto or like our new version of app onto the this app. Okay, so as of now, if you go ahead and click on overview, and as of now you will be seeing your old app only, because in the back end it is deploying your web app as of now. So it is going to do the complete build solution for .NET application, and once the build will be succeed, then it will going to push the changes to your app service plan, and inside the app service plan, the app that we have deployed, it is going to deploy that. So it's going to take a couple of minutes. So once the deployment will be completed, we will be back, we will once again back and see the page once, like the demo page that will be available. So as of now, it is just the old app that is showing. So we will jump back once again after a couple of minutes and see whether the deployment will be done or not. So till the time, let's jump on to the next part of the presentation. So here are some of the features that it provide. You can get scaling options, like you can scale up and scale down your application. You have a deployment options that I showed, like you can go ahead and do deployment from DevOps, you can do deployment from GitHub, Git, you can use even the local Git options. So you have a different deployment options that are available. You have options of networking, like you can go ahead and enable the networking like VNet based access. So you, if you want to create an app that only be used by your organization. That's not a public app, so you can define that in VNet itself. If you can use CDN like to make your application highly available, so these type of options are there. You can go ahead and use backups. So backup, you have two options that will provide you a full archival backup, or like snapshot based, like based upon the changes it will just going to capture the changes. So that type of backup option that are available for your app, so that in case of anything doesn't go well, you can just roll back to the previous version. And also you can go ahead and do the custom domain. Let's say as of now you are seeing the app, my app with like Microsoft configuration, like Azure website.net. If you have your own DNS domain name, so you can just go ahead and update the C name or A name of your application, and use the custom domain, like let's say uh, Azure Dev Community, anything like that. So you can go ahead and use that part of your application. So yeah, this is the custom domain deployment. Like let's say as of now my app is deployed with some app name .azure websites.net, but let's say I have this domain name that's azuredev.reskill.com, and I want to deploy my web app. So I can use my uh, like DNS name, and in the DNS zone I can update my a record and do the deployment. So using this azdev.reskill.com, my app will be available. So that type of options it provide. It will also provide you a scaling option. So as the user will be scaling, increasing in the background, it will automatically increase the number of VMs to handle the requirement. You can also enable scaling out or scaling up system also. Scaling up means that it will increase the compute capacity of each VM. Also we have seen that deployment slot, like you can have a production and a staging slot. So you can use something known as blue green deployment options, where let's say you have a production environment and you did something like a development environment, that is staging environment, and you did something changes like a new version of your application. You can just do swap, and your production will be swap, production will be stage, and stage will be production. So that type of flexibility is provided by web app, so that you going to a new version of application is just a one click away. Also you can configure a storage option, let's say for the backup. So you can either do the full backup or like a like a snapshot based backup, and all your backup will be stored on blob storage, or even you can enable file content also. And even you can connect your database connectivity connections is also available for web app. Even you can able to isolate your virtual web app using, let's say, particular VM or particular VNet only can able to access my web app. So that type of configuration you can also go ahead and able to do that. So the next service that we are going to cover is app service, that is containers. So the question is, what's the difference between the containers and a virtual machine? Then we have like what are the benefits that containers can provide you. Then the third topic that we'll become covering is implementing container groups, and then we will see like how the Docker can use come into the picture. So the first thing is, what's the difference between the containers and virtual machine? So if in a nutshell I have to say, I will say like container is a lightweight solution, and whereas virtual machine is a complete dedicated solution for your deployment. So you can go ahead and use containers, and container will provide you everything like the deployment as well as deployment files, like the whatever you need, complete package will be there. You can just go ahead and deploy it in the cloud. You don't have to think about like what will be the CPU, what will be the RAM in the background, so that you don't have to care about. So that type of flexibility will be provided using containers. So everything you can just orchestrate or combine together. You can even use Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS, to manage your container orchestration and these files. So that type of flexibility is provided by container solution. So what benefits it can provide you? Definitely it's a PaaS solution, and it provides fast startup time. Let's say because you are not going to deploy the complete operating system again and again, it's just use the OS level changes, and it is just going to bring onto the top of your deployed application. So in that scenario, your application will be available very fast. And also you can use public IP connectivity and DNS name resolution. Let's say you can do the DNS resolution for your web app that will be deployed using container. Then it provide you isolated features also, like you can isolate your container instances. You can use persistent storage for your application also, and you can connect, choose either Linux and Windows based container. And virtual network deployment is also enabled, also an option that similar to web app. So container groups, yeah, definitely container groups, like how to manage your containers. So that this type of options is also available for your managing container, like container groups inside as your container instances. But it will be more useful, like you can able to do a lot of things when you are going to use it with Kubernetes solution. This is a simple demonstration like how it happens. So you define a Docker file in a simple way, and Docker file will be stored in a Docker images. From the Docker file, you will create a Docker image, and you can go ahead and store that Docker image in Azure Container Registry. And from the container registry, what it does, it's like you can go ahead and deploy your application from the container registry itself on container instances. So that's the complete life cycle that it provides. So let's jump onto the console and see it in action. So the old demo that I have shown, like deploying a demo .NET application. Now, if you just refresh the page, you will be seeing that uh, the page got changed, and now my application is got deployed. Hello world from .NET 6. So that was the web app that we have created here in the. By clicking on this, you can just see that now the page is changed and our new version of application is deployed. Let's go back onto the resource group. As I'm already like exceeding the time, so I'm not going to do a lot of demo for containers and Kubernetes, because otherwise we are going to like extend a lot of time. So go ahead and you can study it from the Azure documentation or anything. And also the top 50 candidate will be getting Whizlabs subscription, so you can use that benefit to go ahead and study from that platform also. So yeah, here search for container instance, search for container instance. So yeah, here container instance is already there in my recent search, so I'm going to select container instance. Here I have one container that is already running, but let's go ahead and see how to create the container instance. Give your container a name. Select the reason. Here in the source code, you can you can either have option from using quick start, that is so you some already build container images that you can directly use, or you can define your own container image and store it in container registry and use that to deploy your application. So if you have a custom app, you can create it using Docker and store it in Azure Container Registry. And once that will be available in the container registry, you can select that, and here you can select the container registry. It will be available for that. But as I don't have a container registry as of now, but so I'm just going to use that like the default one, that is quick start images. So it is already selecting a hello world image that it provides. Here you have a networking option. Here you can select the whether your container will be public, private. So you have the option, and here you can provide a fully qualified domain name. So let's say Saurav container, and it will be, and here you can select the port on which you want your container to be available. So I'm going to use this port 80. So here you can define different restart policy, like what will happen on the failover or what will happen in the scenario. So you can go ahead and define these type of scenario for your application. Let's say in case of anything happened to your application, so based upon how you configure this page, it will do the actions. But as it is not important very much, so we are going to just do review and create, and click on create to create a or container instance. Now it's going to getting deployed, so as it's going to take a little bit of time, so let's just jump back onto the presentation and like see the last part of our section, that is Kubernetes service. So in this section, what we are going to cover is what is AKS, what is AKS cluster and nodes, what is AKS networking, AKS storage, AKS scaling, AKS scaling to ACI. So just keep in mind that container and Kubernetes are not asked a lot in the question, but yeah, definitely you will be getting a couple of questions from this section. On overview, knowledge is quite important. So you can just read about the definitions, like what are each terms mean. So pools are basically a group of nodes, and nodes are individual VMs where the deployment will be happening. So, and we have a pod, like a single instance of an application, and deployment will be done and managed by the Kubernetes cluster itself. And you can define your architecture in YAML file. So that will be the key terminology that you will be hearing in terms of Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is a complete dedicated course. So if you want to know more about Kubernetes, definitely you need to, because it's a very trending technology nowadays. So I would highly recommend those who are interested in DevOps based field, go ahead and learn more about container instance, container registry, AKS technology. So yeah. So here is just the configuration, how to configure AKS based storage, how scaling is happening. So it's basically do at a node level, scale out, and in the backend it's the pod getting scaled. So that type of scalability is provided in Kubernetes solution. So let's just jump and see it in action. Before that, our container is already deployed. So just go ahead inside the resource. Here you can see fully qualified domain name. Here on this fully qualified domain name itself, the virtual machine, sorry, our demo demo container app will be deployed. So let's see it. Okay, so it's loading. So let it get loaded. Till the time we will see the configuration, what are the configuration options that you have. So like in terms of orchestration or the container setting option that is available, so container instance doesn't have that much of capability. In that scenario only, the Kubernetes comes into the picture. So Kubernetes provide you the orchestration and everything that is required to run a big big application. Okay, so in that scenario only we use like AKS solution. Here you can see just basic things like, okay, what all the web apps is running, and you can see the events like whether the app is started or not, what are the properties, who are connected. So these type of basic things you can able to see from setting option. But for more options, you it was highly recommended to use AKS solution. So definitely keep, like, you'll be getting a lot of confusing question when to use container instance, container registry, and AKS solution. So whenever you hear the term orchestration or managing a big web application or managing a multiple nodes of application, thinks about AKS, because container registry or container instance doesn't provide a lot of options that in terms of orchestration. So here you can also enable like authentication options. So let's say you can add user based authentication from for your subscription. So you can use different authentication method for your application. And you can see matrices and these fields for your AKS solution. Here, I guess it's still deploying. So let me show the app that I already created for the containers. Let me go to the resource group. If you click on my containers, copy the fully qualified domain name. Yeah, so you can able to see the welcome page of container instance. So this is a container instance that is deployed. So yeah, like I guess in my the container that I created, it's still deploying. So in couple of minutes, it will also be available. But here you can see the similar page you will be getting, like the same page that you are seeing here. Like here also you are seeing that the welcome page is come. Like yeah, now it is available on this page also. So similar way you can define even your container also. So if you have to define your container, you have to create a Docker file in your local system. Then you have to upload that file, convert that file into image, and then upload that image into the container registry of Azure. And then you can use that container registry to use for your application to deploy your container app. Now see the Kubernetes solution that is available. So click on Kubernetes Service. Here I already have a Kubernetes that is created. So to create a new, click on create. Again, select the subscription. Then select the resource group. So I'm selecting kuberg. Here you have option to choose configuration options, whether you want to choose standard or dev test environment, cost optimized. So different options that you have. So let's go with the default one. And you can give a container cluster a name. So I'm giving Saurav cube. Something unique need to be there per resource group. So yeah, then you have region where you want to deploy the container, Kubernetes solution. So I'm using East US. You can use availability options. So I'm selecting all the three availability options that is default. Even you have to choose the container Kubernetes version that is available. So basically Azure Kubernetes Service is the Azure solution of what is available as the open source from the Kubernetes. So it provide you more flexibility in terms of options also. So that's why Azure Kubernetes Service you can't compare just with the open source container solution that is available, because it's add a lot of value in that. Then you can select the like node size. So you have different sizing options that you have available. You can do scaling using auto scaling and manual scaling. Here you can define your pools, like where you want to your virtual machine will be running, or sorry, your container will be running. Here you can also enable role-based access control, or you can just add your AKS managed AKS solution to Active Directory solution. So that options is also available for AKS. You can go ahead and do fully qualified domain name for your kubenet. So it's provide a networking configuration that is kubenet itself. Either you can go ahead and select Azure CNI also. Here you have to define the custom IP address range and everything, so you can get more customizable things for Azure CNI. So that's the difference between kubenet provide a complete solution by default. Then you can select integration. So you can like integrate with it with container registry and deploy your containers from the container registry that I told you earlier also. Like to deploy your container instance, you can use container registry, and here also in the Kubernetes cluster also you can deploy using container registry itself. You can just go ahead and click on review and create, but it's like creating it's going to take 10 to 15 minutes, so we are not going to do that. So let me just jump back and show you already created containers that I have, sorry, Kubernetes solution that I have. And in terms of Kubernetes, just remember what benefits it's provide in terms of Kubernetes instance that you already have. So you have to keep these service into the minds, like you have the namespace solution that is available. So you provide more orchestration, more managed facilities is there when it comes to the Kubernetes. So here you can see the Kubernetes options is there. You can define your storage option is there. You can define the configurations for your containers, sorry, Kubernetes solution. So this type of complete solution is there using Kubernetes. So Kubernetes provide you with more solution, more flexibility in terms of what you get from container instance, because it's not provide orchestration and these facilities. So make sure to remember these concepts before going to the exam. So this is mainly what we needed to cover in today's demonstration. So this is it for our technical session for this bootcamp also. And like the next week, we are going to announce our grand winners for like all the selected, like for all the 7-day challenge and everything. And also tomorrow, like on the next session itself, we will share you some tips and tricks like how you can prepare for certification for this, like how you can go ahead and schedule your exam and prepare yourself more, because yeah, definitely we have covered a lot of things from this 7 lectures, but we can't go ahead and teach everything in 1 or 2 hour of lecture, because you've seen that today itself deploying a single gateway or these things used to take 1 hour or 1.5 hour. So it's nearly impossible to teach everything in the live session. So you have to definitely go ahead and do your research, prepare yourself better, do some test series also before going for the exam. Then only you will be completely prepare yourself for this certification. So let me jump back and see if there is any question. How to get Azure Pass sponsorship. So yeah, definitely a couple of people will be getting Azure passes also after today's like in the next session that we have, based upon like how you performed or how you did in the last few lectures, or how you did all the challenges and everything, how much you interacted in the section. So that will be based on that, we will be giving passes also to a couple of people, also certification vouchers and other benefits also. For students, you can student mail ID. Yeah, so if you are a student, definitely you can use your college ID. If it is registered with Microsoft email domain, definitely you will be getting $100 credit, and that will be more than enough to prepare yourself for this certification and even multiple certification also. So that will be more than enough for you. So this is it for the lecture and for this section. If you have any question, use the time to ask the question, but I'm now going to do the, yeah, Whizlabs call sponsors subscription is also given to couple of people. Like top 50 will be getting subscription for Whizlabs, so you will be getting access to all the Whizlabs courses, including AZ-104 and all the Azure certifications courses. So definitely it will be a very great resource for you to go ahead and prepare for certification, do test series, do hands-on lab, because they have quite great lab options also. So yeah, definitely that will be a great option. Now let's now you all must be waiting for the results for today's session. So let me jump onto the PPT first. Let me, yeah. So, Sahaj, I'm going to do the result announcement.
Yeah,
Can we
sure.
go ahead?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. Mm, Lot of people must be waiting for this. So, like, this were the winners for week two. Then we had week three also winners. Then we had a week four winner. Then we had last week we had our week five winners. Now this was the week six challenge that you all have seen. Now it's the time for winner announcement. Are you guys are excited?
Guys, can we get
Can
a
we
yes
see?
in the chat?
Let's see more excitement because only few people. If few people will be there, so we are not going to announce the result. We will wait for next week. I'm going to wait for a long time because I have enough time to just wait here. Okay. Yeah. So we have enough excitement, I guess. So, Sahaj, can we go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
So here we are. Here we are. The week six winner. Arpita, Hars, Amay, Mohit, Avinash, Pulkit, Vabhav, Rohit. Congratulations, everyone. And this winners include from the quiz as well as the blogging challenge that we have. So congratulations once again to everyone. Uh, Once again, congratulations everyone.
Congratulations, guys.
Now comes the last week challenge. So the one who yet not received goodies or any benefits, this is a time. This is the last week for our boot camp, and this is the last challenge. So today we are going to have a quiz on Kahoot, from where we will be selecting two, three winners, and then we will be having a blog challenge again. So in the blog challenge, you have to write the blog about what you have learned today. You can choose any particular topic, let's say virtual network gateway or VNet peering or web app or container, anything you can choose and write a good blog. So based upon that, we will be selecting our a winner for the last week. So before going to that, this is again thanks to the team who is doing tremendous work for last 7 to 8 weeks. So once again, thanks everyone from the team's point of view. And this comes to an end of my presentation for today's lecture. Just one more announcement I have. So the blogs that you have sent to us, we have selected a couple of blogs, and that blog is going to be placed for blogathon challenge that coming up for the Microsoft side. So a couple of blogs we already selected, and we are going to put it on the web page on the front of the blogathon challenge. So you are already in for Microsoft blogathon that coming next. So that's still in the planning phase, but yeah. So congratulations. We are soon be sharing whose blog is got selected. So for that you have to wait till maybe couple of weeks for that. So yeah. So that's the final announcement from my side. That's it for my presentation. And once again, sorry for the if you hear some voice or anything like that, because I have some throatal problem for last 2 weeks, and because of that, uh, I was not able to speak very well. That's why last week I have to reschedule the session. And this week also I was not very well, but I don't want to postpone more about this session. So that's why I decided to take the session. So thanks for bearing with me and staying till the end. Sahaj, over to you for the quiz, for the Kahoot
Yeah,
quiz.
sure. Okay, guys. So, as mentioned earlier, we will be having a quiz on Kahoot. So, I will be just sharing the code. So, please join with your original name. Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen. One second. I hope you all are able to see this game pen.
Guys, just go on to the www.kahoot.it and enter the pin 18487.
Guys, please join with your original name.
Yeah. One last quiz for this boot camp. We are coming to end of this boot camp. Like it was quite a long event that we have planned, but I hope it goes well. So thanks everyone coming every day on Saturday and staying till 7:30. So it's a really big deal. But yeah, definitely you will be learning something new, and this will definitely help you in a long run in your career. So congratulations to everyone who is staying till that long for this boot camp.
Guys, we will be waiting for next 2 minutes. Please join.
If anyone facing any issue while login, please let us know in the chat. Guys, log in fast.
Guys, last 1 minute. Please join fast. Okay, now let's begin. Okay, all the best to everyone. We are starting.
Guys, answer fast. Okay.
Okay,
See the
so now
rhythm.
Anant is leading. Let's go. Let's move to next question. Okay, so five of you have made the correct answer. Let's see. Okay, so Yashashvi Kumari is on the third position. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so six of you just hit the correct answer. Okay, now Anant is still leading at the first position. Let's move to the next question. Okay, so six of you just hit the correct answer. Let's see. Okay, so Aradhya Singh is has the highest streak of answer four, and Anant is still leading. Okay, guys, so it's the last question of quiz. All the best. Okay, so six of you just hit the correct answer. Let's see.
Let's see the winners.
Okay, so we have Yashashvi Kumari at the third position, Aradhya Singh at the second, and we have Anand at the first position. Congratulations, guys.
And more important thing is all the three have and like answered all the questions correctly, like 5 out of 5.
Yeah, congratulations, guys, for winning the week 7 quiz. Uh, Now let's stop sharing. So, guys, we are done with the week 7 of AZ-104 Bootcamp, and as per we have our three winners, and the weekly challenge will be the same as blog writing. So we are really waiting for some interesting blogs. Hope to see them all. Thank you so much for joining this session.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the time and all the best for the next week challenge. And also, the grand winner announcement will be happening on the next week. So make sure to join on the next Saturday at 5 p.m. So we will be live uh, at 5 on next Saturday. So till the time, go ahead and do the challenge, do your best, because this is the last challenge for this complete boot camp. And thanks to those who are every day doing coming up and writing amazing blogs. We are keeping track of each and every one and selecting some good blogs, but definitely every blog is unique in itself, and some blogs are tremendous, like I really loved it. And even the one I'm sharing with, like the Microsoft teams or Reskill team, they also loved a lot about the content that you guys have done. So that's amazing. That's really amazing. And also, I'm totally open for any type of chats or anything feedback that you have for this boot camp for me, or what you want to see next after this boot camp, because next week is going to be a last session for this boot camp. But definitely, we don't want to stop here. We want to keep coming up with new things, new bootcamp, new challenges, new plans. So definitely next week there is going to be a one, like a complete two-way communication between us, where we are going to discuss what next after this boot camp, what going to be next. So make sure to to note all of your questions or all of your feedbacks that you have for me or this community or anyone from any member of our community, like how we can improve or what you want to see in the upcoming, like in the upcoming weeks, like what new challenge or what new plannings you want to see from our side, or what new certifications you want to see or want to prepare, and we can go ahead and do some boot camps of anything like that. Definitely come up with these things, and we will love to take the majority votes. So yeah, definitely that's it from my side.
Till then, have a nice week, guys. Let's meet next week.
Thank you everyone, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.